Welcome your backup plan tribe to this week's show. Oh my goodness me. I can't believe when I get the changing of commercials right. It makes me really happy for the day. So it's just the little things in life during the pandemic that, sometimes we just have to be grateful for things technically working properly. So welcome your backup plan tribe. Welcome to our show this week. It's a very different interview. I'm going to invite Betsy Sloan Wurtzel on our show today from Chatting with Betsy, and she's going to interview me for a change. So that's going to be very different for everybody. So welcome to our channel this week. Thank you so much for coming on. If you are new here, my name is Tina Ginn. I am an emergency preparedness coach, a best-selling author, a financial expert, and an app developer of Your Backup Plan app. And I'm located here in beautiful Vancouver, BC, Canada. And we post step-by-step tutorials, sometimes current events in the news, tips and tricks from our weekly interviewees, and whatever else I feel like posting that has come up in the news. I interview real-life people each and every week with their real-life stories. So, there's so many cool stories, so many cool people I have met. It's coming up to be a year anniversary very soon. And I have met incredible, incredible people from all around the world. And I'm so blessed and grateful for each and every one of them to tell us their story of their tragedy, their life-changing event, their inspiration to everyone. And I'm really, truly grateful. So thank you all our previous guests. Your backup plan app puts your life in one place in case of any unpredictable circumstance while taking the painful aftermath out of any tragedy. And let's get on the party on the road here. We're going to bring on Betsy Wurtzel, who is with Chatting with Betsy from a radio show. She's going to take over the show from here on in. And I'm so grateful to have her come on our show today. So here comes Betsy.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Betsy.
Thank you for having me on, Tina. I'm Betsy Wurtzel, host of Chatting with Betsy on Passion World Talk Radio Network. You get to see my face today. Lucky you. So my the more tired I am, the sillier I get. Thank you for having me on, Tina. And congratulations, a year anniversary. That's wonderful.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Great. Isn't it a blessing? Isn't it amazing? To be doing what we're doing and meeting wonderful people.
Yes, it is.
Really am blessed myself. I just had my year anniversary with my own show this past September, but next month, which I can't believe already, will be 3 years that I'm with Passion World Talk Radio Network.
Wow.
So, thank you, Jeannie White, station manager at Passion World Talk Radio Network, for discovering me. And thank you to Lillian Caldwell, CEO of Passion World Talk Radio Network, for having the confidence to let me do what I do. Well, thank you. And I got to meet Tina, which, folks, I'm telling you, I love this woman.
I love Betsy.
I just met Tina. When did we meet, Tina? Like a month ago? 2 months ago, maybe?
Yeah.
I love what you do. And anyone who has listened to my show, anyone who knows me, knows I believe in being an advocate and being proactive and planning for emergencies, planning your end of life, what would happen, God forbid you get into an accident. Your backup plan app is phenomenal. Emergency Blueprint, your podcast. People, get on the stick, okay? Get on your computer, mouse, your stick, whatever you use, and check out Tina's podcast you will learn something, and the emergency, your backup plan app, it's perfect. People say, oh, there's no such thing as something perfect. You put everything in one app. I
Yeah.
love it. I just
Because
love it.
a lot of times people say, oh, well, I've done my death stuff. I've done the dying part. Well, this covers everything. This doesn't just cover that, as Betsy well knows. So
Exactly. And, more and more folks, you know what? I don't want to be morbid, but I'm a realist. God forbid you will go in your car. You get in an accident. Does anyone know where your things are? Who knows where your papers are? Your passwords? Who's going to take care of your bills? People don't like to think of our own mortality. Okay, maybe you won't, die in the accident. Well, what happens if you're severely injured? What happens if you go into the hospital and things don't go as planned? Do you have a backup plan? Because you really need to start thinking about it. I know people don't like to talk about it. What is someone going to do? I'll tell you what, my mom, 91 years old, she just had an aorta valve replacement. And, my brother's trying to talk her into assisted living. You need to plan. What are you going to do when you can't take care of yourself? Also, there's a lot of things, to think about. How did you get into this work, Tina?
Well, it's really funny because I feel that the universe had a bigger plan for me. I feel that the universe had me studying all the different areas, and then just lately, just this last year, I had a message that I had everything. I had all my tools in my toolkit to go ahead and get this flying for people. There's so many people that it's needed. Do you know, I just heard a stat today, 100,000 people are dying every day around the world. That's a lot of people. And that's during COVID. So I got prepared by not knowing what I was getting prepared for, obviously. But I'm Microsoft certified, systems engineer certified. I went into legal. I was a legal secretary. I was, I sold real estate. I then went into being a call center coordinator to help people with their computers and the technology part. I went into life insurance, disability, selling financial mutual funds and RSPs. That would be 401s in the States. All of those kind of mutual fun parts of that, investments. I sold cars, believe it or not. I worked in a funeral home and sold prearranged funeral arrangements. So, I have pretty much covered the whole gamut with that. I have been totally prepared. The universe had me prepared for my own backup plan. I feel that because of being able to be given the opportunity to go into all of these different types of industries and really learn what things happen to people. And so that I can then also learn from other clients from what's happened to them. And so it really makes a huge impact because your backup plan app doesn't just cover you if you die. It covers you for house insurance, life insurance, sickness, losing your wallet or passport or documents, or having a wildfire or flood. It covers you for so many different things. And that was really what I was all about, was to make sure that people were going to be taken care of, but not have their information out there recklessly either, but secured. So that was what my importance of the whole objection for people. And of course, in my stream of things, after being in the midst of all this, what made a huge impact for me was learning from a dear friend who just turned 60. Her and her husband had a small dollar store in a small city. And he had called me and said, can you pick her up today after she goes in for some tests at the hospital? I said, absolutely, just give me a call. But he said, he called me back after and said she won't be coming home right now. She has to stay in a hospital for a few more days for tests. I said, okay, well, just let me know. Well, he called me back after 2 or 3 days and said, she has stage 4 lung cancer, never smoked a day in her life, and she's not going to be coming out. She has to go through chemo and radiation treatments. So I said, no problem, I'll go visit her at the hospital. So I made a commitment to myself to go visit her twice a week, and she lasted 6 weeks. But I wanted to make sure that I brought her a cup of tea that didn't taste like dishwater from the hospital. So I made sure she had a nice cup of tea, and we always sat and talked. And I guess the scariest thing was when we went out on the patio, she said, you know, Tina, I'm not coming out of here. There's nothing worse than going into a hospital and knowing you're never coming out. So we took the time to really talk and be present, which I always say to people, because she only wanted to feel the air, the breeze on her face, and see the birds and see the blue sky. And if that can't be done, then she might as well stay in a dungeon or a prison. Because it's those little things, those little moments that make you realize how precious your life is. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You don't know what miracle might even evolve from someone who's being sick or passing away or in a coma or who has COVID now. But be present and send lots of love and caring and talking, because you don't want to regret those moments later. And we will regret something, or something we didn't say, or something we didn't do. But if you can be just present in the moment with that person, then you can feel that you've said everything you've needed to say, and that they've also said everything they've needed to say. Because sometimes we're not given those blessings. We're told from a car accident the person is passed away, or has passed away from something else tragic. So why not embrace those moments that we're only given to really be present with that person and help them heal, help them recover from whatever that injury or sickness might be. Because through love, you can get through anything, any storm. Because a lot of times that's what someone needs to feel better, to feel that they are healing. And my goal was then to help people not talk about all those things in those moments. Where's your stuff? Where's your paperwork? Where's your bank accounts? Where are your investments? Where's the key for the garage? Where's the key for the house? Where's your shutoff valves? Who's feeding the cat, and what kind of cat food do they eat? All of those questions do not need to be asked at that time. It's time for you to enjoy each other and those precious moments that you may never get back again. And by having your backup plan app, it allows you to be prepared beforehand, so you don't have those worries after. You don't have to worry about where their will is, or where their investments or their banking information is, or what family is going to fight around the person. Who gets that clock? Who gets that cabinet? Who gets this or who gets that? there's no time for that. It should have been done previously.
Absolutely. I absolutely agree, Tina. I can't say it enough. And I don't even care if I sound redundant every time I come on the radio. Or in my group, I have a Facebook group, hashtag Kick Alzheimer's Ass Movement. It is imperative that you have, especially as a caregiver, you have to have that backup plan. What happens if something happens to you, the caregiver? Forget about the person that you're caring for. This doesn't have to be Alzheimer's. It could be anything. What will happen to that person that you're caring for? Do you have that down? Do you have a special needs adult child or a special needs younger child? Are you prepared for a natural disaster? Or I don't know if they would consider a hurricane a natural disaster, but you need to, what would you do in emergency if you have to evacuate your area? Are you prepared? Do you know what to do? I have some suggestions, Tina, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Where I live in New Jersey, I had my husband registered with the police department because they have a safe and sound program. And I had his picture taken. You know, they got the information where this is when he was able to walk. My husband became lost one day. That's just when he was able to walk. I called the police department up. He was, in their database. They found him in a half an hour. Of course, I was frantic. If I didn't have him registered, who knows how long it would have taken to find my husband. I had my mother-in-law registered. The medicines that you're on or your loved one. Even if you have a developmental disability here in New Jersey, you can register with the police department and say that you have a child who has a disability, so that they will come to your house first if there's a disaster and you have to get out. This is important, folks. Do we like to think about these things? Not like Tina and I are morbid. We think about dying and death all the time, but it's important to know this.
Well, shit happens. So
yeah.
The other thing that I'll tag on to that, Betsy, is there used to be a plan that was North American wide. I'm not sure about Europe and other areas, but there was a plan for children to get fingerprinted and have all of that stuff done as well. And in the app, it also includes all of that stuff. So you could be caregiving for someone, you could add it into the app so that if something did happen, that you could pull out that information when it's required. And it even includes a piece of hair for DNA or photographs and fingerprints. So really, really important when you need it the most.
That's amazing. I had to ask you this, Tina. So if somebody wants to inquire about your backup plan app, what do they do? Do they go to a website?
So yourbackupplan.ca is the website, and it has all the information and testimonials on the website, as well as down below, there are 2 links, one for Google Play and one for iTunes, where you can load the app on your phone or tablet, as well as the emerging blueprint, which is going to be coming down the pipe, launching very soon, which will allow a little bit more education, worksheets, interviews, and a library of videos that can be used to help guide you through the process if you feel so inclined. Because a lot of times people don't know why they need certain things or why it's important. And in the emerging blueprint that will be coming out, we'll have instructions, it will have videos, it will have ongoing videos from what I would like to do. It's going to be a platform, but in the future, I would like to include all the different countries into that platform as well. So you take the basics, because the basics are going to be needed whatever country you're in. But we'll fine tune the basics once we come into England and Sweden and Germany and France, all the European countries, all the Australia, all the different countries. So when the Americans, say yourself, is looking at the program, at the platform, you'll have a link that will go right to United States of America, and it will give you, okay, the investments are 401ks, all of your own language that is the same, but it's called something different in each country. So that's what that will look like eventually.
Okay, so they would go to your website, and they could download the app, and then they would put their information in the app, where the app tells them what information is needed and
Right.
how to go about obtaining it.
Yes. The app is getting updated right now on iTunes, but it will, 2 or 3 weeks. We're making a few big changes with it. We're putting a notification. So when you put in your life insurance or house insurance or car insurance or any of those types of things, you'll get notified beforehand that something's coming up for renewal. Would you like to look at that? And so there'll be a notification for you. So you don't really even have to think. It will tell you when things need to be updated.
Sounds good. People forget.
Yes, we do. I know.
Yeah.
I've driven down the road thinking, oh, I forgot to get my car insurance. We've all done that once in our lifetime, I think. So.
Well, here I get by mail, my renewals. But one time I forgot to give Matt the new insurance card, and he was in an accident. Good thing that policeman didn't give him a ticket, because he said, I'm insured. I completely forgot to give him the card.
Right.
Completely forgot. But he was insured. That's what happens. You have a lot on your mind, folks.
Yes. Everyone's so busy.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Life is busy.
That's right.
Very busy. And go ahead.
Well, I wanted to bring back COVID, because in this time during the pandemic, we really weren't prepared for any emergency plan. It didn't matter what country you're in, we weren't prepared. And even personally, we weren't prepared, as well as city, state, country-wise. But no one wants to think about the mortality part. No one wants to think about or understand the reasons why we need to be prepared for earthquakes, floods, hurricanes, tornadoes, and pandemics like this. Because there's just so many people dying right now. They just stated the worldwide I think it's called WHO. Do you know the news?
The World Health Organization.
Yeah, they just announced today that there's 100,000 people dying every day in the world. So why aren't we prepared? Because we don't think anything's going to happen to us. And for caregivers, you're so infatuated with helping that other person that you forget about yourself. And you forget, well, what happens if I'm not here tomorrow? And I want everybody just to think that for a few minutes. What if I wasn't here tomorrow? What would you like to do or say or have prepared for yourself and for your family? Because there's no time but right now to get that done, because tomorrow might be too late. We don't know what's going to happen.
Absolutely.
So, wanted to look at my notes here. I don't want you to regret not being able to be next to that person that's either sick or in recovery or whatever it might be. It could even be a coma. I don't want you to forget that there's so many words that you'll feel very guilty about if you don't say them to that person. And there's no reason why you can't every day. And so pick up the phone and call somebody that you love and care about and ask them how they're doing today. Because during this pandemic, we are very sheltered from everyone. And why not? Why not reach out to someone?
Yes. I also feel, Tina, that there is a huge, and that's even an understatement, mental health crisis going on because people can't grieve like they would like. They can't have their cultural closures, if you will, when someone passes away because of COVID.
Yeah.
And, when COVID happened, it really made me think I need to get my son have a living will. My son is 36, but he's special needs adult. And I said, Josh, I got to take you to a lawyer, which I wanted to do, but then COVID happened. But we did last summer. He did a living will because I was thinking, God forbid if he had COVID or he was in an accident, I can't say anything. And I can. And I have power of attorney. And I can't stress that enough, Tina. And I'm sure it's probably in your app too, your backup app. You need, and I'm going to say this very slowly because I want the audience to get it. You must, it's not even you need, you must have power of attorney, medical, financial, make a living will. Don't put that responsibility in someone else. And I don't know how it is in other countries. I only know about here in America. If you do not have that power of attorney, financial even, you can't even contact a life insurance company because they won't tell you anything.
Right.
I thought I sent the power of attorney for Matt because I had it to the life insurance company. They didn't receive it for some reason. So they wouldn't tell me anything. I had to send it again. I'm his wife. I was his wife. He died, but they wouldn't tell me anything, only basic, like very basic. Medicaid, we have, or Medicare here in America. You want to change your prescription plan? Can't do it unless you have the power of attorney. Can't change any plans. And you won't know any information. Excuse me. It's very, very imperative. How, we plan, college, when we want to get married, have a baby. Why can't we plan how we want to live out our dying days?
Yes.
Why can't we say, you know what, I don't want a feeding tube, or I want to have like an alternate funeral or burial arrangement. I want these songs played at my funeral. Why can't we talk about that? I'm chatting with Betsy. I popped the lid open. I'm not afraid to talk about what people think are the taboo, but it's not. Death and dying. We need to talk about it. It's a part of life, folks.
Well, that's for sure. My one sentence says, where is it now? I coach each and every one because there's no one that gets out of this alive.
That's right. That's right. Hank Williams had a song that I forgot the exact name of it, but something to the effect that no one gets out of this world alive, or I won't get out of this world alive. Yeah. We are all going to die, and emergencies do happen. And do you have your backup plan?
Yes.
Tina, you're a genius for coming up with this app and helping, so many people to get so many people to start to even think about it.
Well, that's just it, because even when I worked in the car dealerships, people will buy a car or a truck, but the insurance person's there, but they don't ever think about, well, should I have both names on it? Should I have two people's names on the registration, or should I just have one? So it's important to even consider who has their name in that vehicle, because when that person dies, it's a mess to try to fix. You can't even use their car. You can't use their accounts. You can't use their bank accounts. You can't do anything without the appropriate paperwork.
Yes, that's very, very true. When my husband was in hospice, up in the hospital, the hospice doctor told me, and I don't know why they start this at age 65, because I think they should start a lot younger, about planning for your end of life.
Right.
You only get 15 minutes to talk to a patient. And he said they don't have a clue. Most of them don't even have a clue. And I told the doctor what I do. I have a podcast and I've talked about this. He said, keep talking about it. It'll make my job easier. So we're on track,
Even if we don't pass away, even if we just become sick, or you're in a coma, or you're getting older and you know that you're going to need more care than what you're getting right now, why not look at what are the options? What options do I want? Do I want to be in my own house? Do I want to stay in with someone else? Do I want to go into a care facility of some sort? What choices do I want to make? And those are really important as well. And that's not because you're dying. It's just you may have some changes done to your health that you're going to have to look at.
Yes, you brought up a good point, Tina, and I just saw this in the paper, I think last weekend. Well, I'm a baby boomer, but baby boomers are aging. They're in their 70s now. I'm 63. They want to stay in their house. They're now thinking, how can I stay in my house? What do I need to fix to stay in my house? Do I have to move to another place where it's maybe one floor and no stairs? Do I need to fix the bathroom? Get like with those higher toilets, safety assessment to be done in the home.
Right.
Maybe you need a ramp. These are the things that baby boomers are thinking about to be able to stay in their house as they age.
That's right. And so, we can't tell people enough that it's not just preparing for passing away. It's for preparation of any unforeseen circumstance. We do workshops and webinars all the time, and we're going to be having lots of those coming up on our VIP Facebook group. So a lot of the times what we do is we tell people to take their wallet, don't look in it, set it on the counter, take a piece of paper and write down what was in your wallet. It's very surprising how many things we can list without looking in your wallet, because those are one of the things in your backup plan app which allows you to store that information so that when something does happen, you have at your fingertips a list of all the things that was in your wallet. I don't know about you, but I've had my wallet go missing one time, and it's, I won't say heartbreaking, but it certainly lets the adrenaline rush through you very quickly.
Yes. In your backup plan app, I got it out. Got tongue tie there. Do you have where you can use your phone to copy like power of attorney so that you have it and you go to the hospital and you could show the doctors?
Yes.
Here's the power of attorney instead of carrying the papers with you?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, good. That's a good idea.
And the other part of that is also a lot of the nurses have told me that they would like people to be better prepared, because otherwise, when the person comes in and they have to have surgery, but they can't go home, they have to stay in emergency and get it perhaps operated. But they don't like having that responsibility because there might be pets at home, or they may need to have something done to their home before they can leave. So it's important that you don't leave all of that up to the hospital to figure out. That's not the right person to be figuring out your own home life. Your home life needs to be figured out, and then you can make the responsible solutions at the hospital itself. We did talk about on your radio show also, in the Emerging Blueprint, there's 12 different modules. So there's a library of videos and interviews with professionals that can allow you to better understand every single process. It could be, you could watch a video on investments or life insurance, or you could watch a video on home insurance, or even taking photographs for your home insurance. Because if there's a wildfire or a fire in your home, you'll have the photographs to use for the insurance company, because that's what they're going to want. They either want receipts or they want photographs. And so you'll be prepared for that. There's also webinars. There's a list of bills to pay, so that if you're stuck in the hospital, but you're coming out of the hospital, someone can take over that you've given your guest user adequate, I'm trying to think of the word, adequate, you've given that person their security for that part. Then they would be able to pay your bills, pay your electricity, pay your mortgage, pay your rent while you are in the hospital. When you come home, then everything will be finished for you. So what else did we talk about? We talked about shut-off valves. Do you know where your shut-off valve is? Do you know where your gas line shut-off valve is, or your water shut-off valve? Really important if you're in an earthquake, fault line, or hurricanes or tornadoes. There's an emergency kit preparation guide, which has been updated for pandemic times with masks, etc. There is worksheets, full of worksheets that you could have that family conversation. That's the one Betsy was talking about. That's super important, to be able to sit down with your family and even possibly friends and have that conversation about what is it that you want. What perhaps your parents need to be asked, what do they want it to look like? What do they want it to look like if they got sick or ill and can't stay in their home? What do they want that picture to look like? What do they want in the end? What do they want that to look like? And you can go through all of these different worksheets to help guide you through that process.
Thank you, Tina. That is great information. And folks, I could tell you that Tina is right on the mark, because I again read in the paper, this is from an insurance company, take pictures of what's in your home so that you could show it in case, something happened to your house. And because God forbid there's a fire, you won't have those receipts. But if you take your phone out, if you can remember to take your phone out as you're running out of your house, you'll have it on your phone. These are the things like, when someone like me didn't grow up with a smartphone, to think of taking pictures of jewelry, of your TV, or your clothes. Yeah. So important. And while I'm thinking about taking pictures, if you have a loved one with dementia, just gonna throw this tip in here real quick, Tina. Take a picture of your loved one every day, especially if they're mobile and they can run out of the house. You have a picture, you can give it to the police. This is what they look like, because they change.
Yes.
In the sound program, they ask for a picture, every year, but they could change drastically. So, take a picture of your loved one.
That's a really good tip because there's so many people, especially with Alzheimer's and dementia, that get lost. Every week it seems like it's on the news. So really, really important.
Sort of another good idea, Tina. Take a picture of your own medications and your loved one's medications. You go to a hospital, in an emergency, they ask, what does your loved one take? And you're like, oh, I don't know. Well, that's not really going to be good.
No.
They want you to know the medications. Take pictures of the bottles, of the name of the medication. It's, be right on there.
Yeah.
And really have, I call it an escape kit ready.
Right.
In case you need to, to run out. And when you have someone who has a disability or has some kind of dementia or any other medical problem, you really need to be prepared. What happens if your loved one has emphysema or chronic obstructive pulmonary disease and they need oxygen and you have to run out of the house or you lose power? These,
Right.
you have to escape. They will come get you first. It's really important to be connected to the police department or whatever it's called in your area.
Right.
Different places, even in the U.S., call them different names: sheriff, department, deputy, whatever it's called in your area. And you know what? Ask your police department, do you have a safe and sound program? And if they don't, why not?
Yeah.
Help them get it started. Sometimes you got to be a squeaky wheel. This is really, it's heartbreaking, but when my mother-in-law was registered, the person who started it went to high school with my husband, and he died of early onset Alzheimer's also, but before my husband did.
Oh, wow.
He started the Safe and Sound program. So, it's a small world, but
Yeah.
people, think, Tina, especially when you're young, okay? I was young once. When you're young, you think, I'm immortal. Nothing's going to happen to me, right?
Yeah.
We don't want to face our own mortality. You know what, folks? This is really my opinion, but this is what I think every person should do. When you're 18, which is legal adult in the U.S., get a living will. Get someone to have your power of attorney that you trust, medical, financial. You can always change that. It's not
Right.
set in stone. You can update it whenever you want. That way, you have a plan in place. I would not want to decide for Josh, my son, whether a feeding tube or not. I didn't want to decide that for Matt. I wanted them to decide it ahead of time. You don't want to have to make that decision.
No.
Trust me, you do not. There was someone who worked in another building. Her father was elderly. They took him off of dialysis. She was tortured, her and her sister, with that decision because their father didn't have a living will. Parents, don't do that to your children. Get that living will. Even ask a friend. It doesn't have to be your children. You may not want to put that on them. Maybe a trusted friend and say, can you make these decisions? This is what I want. And you know what, Tina? I have to say this too because I have a big mouth. You don't have to agree with that person of what they want for their end of life or their burial arrangements. It's not for you to like. It's for you to respect it and honor it. So keep that in mind. And yeah, I do have a big mouth and I'm very outspoken, but that's the way I am.
Well, you've been through it, so that's why.
And I'm from New Jersey. And my father's daughter.
Exactly. One of the things I wanted to add to your little section was, in the app, there's a section on medical. So you could go to the doctor take your phone out, put "Why am I at the doctor" in your section. Go into the doctor, come out, take a picture of the prescription, and then all your medical gets logged. How am I feeling? Did the prescription work? Didn't it work? Is the doctor giving you something else? When did I have a surgery? We forget all of these things. And it's really important to keep track of your own medical, because it's really not getting done for you. So the one thing I did want to mention also was that we talked about this lots of times, Betsy, was in the module, in the 12th one, we talk about a treasure box, and it's really, really fun because you can really think about all of those things that really mean a lot. What would you like to leave as a legacy to your kids, their kids, and their kids, and their kids? So it doesn't always have to be a business. It doesn't have to be that you're leaving a legacy of money, but you're leaving a legacy that means so much to the family. When you can find that shirt in the closet that has that smell of the person, or their cologne or perfume, or a scarf, or that you can, we talk about the 5 senses, feeling, touching, hearing. So you could really create a legacy of like a recipe book that can get passed on. What did their handwriting look like? Maybe they can play music or musical instrument, or sing songs, or write music, or write poetry, or write books. Or those are all considered, mostly all of that is considered our digital plan. And there's also a section in your backup plan for digital ownership. So if you've written a book or written music or something, that can get passed on to the next generation as well in your own legacy, because those are all emotional, not actual financial, but they're part of the digital world where they're intellectual properties. So we talk about all of those different things in each of the different modules so that you can get better educated. But in the 12th module, back to the treasure box, it really looks at what's precious. What would you like to leave as that legacy? Because if anyone is listening that has had someone close to them pass away, there's nothing better than finding something that that person had that you can touch, feel, see, smell. And why not? Why not put some things put aside every year? Why not take that time to make videos? Why not take the time to start collecting things that you can put away so that your kids, their kids, and their kids, and their kids will know who you are for generations?
That's very good, Tina. I could personally say that I'm so glad I did voice clips of that, videos, pictures.
Yeah.
The digital world is also, another thing we don't think about in our legacy or, planning. How does someone shut down Facebook if they want to? Get into your email, get into whatever you're doing on the social media.
Right.
That's very important.
I just read yesterday that Facebook alone in 100 years, so 21, well, that sounds kind of funny, doesn't it? Is 100 years from now. And believe me, it's not very long. There will be over 100 billion people on Facebook that have passed away, that have accounts lingering in the technology world that don't belong to anybody. So I feel it's really, really important. Otherwise, criminals, they love non-active Facebook accounts. They love all of these things that they can take over and either use your identity, use your information, and do other things with it. So it's really important to have a plan, especially between the ages of 18 and 30. It's super important to have your social media have passwords written down or giving them information to someone else. So that is available in your backup plan app. But for listeners who don't have the app yet, it's important to have that written down so that you can take over that person's account when the time comes. Really, really important.
That's yes. I didn't even think about that, Tina, that a scammer can get in. I mean, it's ridiculous. The scamming that goes on. I mean, it's like every
Yes.
day I'm getting someone's hacking into somebody's account and they're alive. So somebody hacked into actually my brother's account even before he died.
Oh.
And yeah, before he died.
And you had mentioned to me that your brother just got his paperwork done just before he passed away last year, was it?
Yes, I told my brother, well, I told my mom, Bradley should go to a lawyer and give, power of attorney, financial, and living will. My brother was starting to have memory problems. And they did, thankfully, last summer. And my brother became sick. He didn't have COVID. He went in the hospital December 10th and didn't come out until he died January 9th. And,
I'm so sorry.
Thank you. My mom was not allowed to see him until he was literally dying. I saw him on video. It's an image I can't get out of my head.
Yes.
This is why people have problems. But even though Bradley had the living will, we had a family meeting about what his condition was, and we all decided it was best that he just get his life support removed, and not live the way that he would have needed 24/7 care,
Right.
with feeding tube and a trach and colostomy. He wouldn't wanted to live that way. Now, that's what he wanted. We honored it.
Right.
My mother-in-law, excuse me, she didn't want a feeding tube, but Matt wanted her to have one. He didn't want her to start. And she was in a nursing home. The nursing home told Matt, because Matt had power of attorney, the nursing home told Matt, we could fight you on this, but we won't. If we wanted to, we could. She had the tube put in, but she died 3 months later. Personally, I understood why he did it. I do. But I didn't get one for Matt. He didn't want one. He already, did that, but he was losing a lot of weight, Matt, near his end. And, the neurologist said, well, he could get a feeding tube. And I was like, well, he doesn't want one. Why? Why prolong
the inevitable?
Yeah. Now, to each his own, but.
Well, that brings up another subject with organ donation as well. And that is in your backup plan app is to consider organ donation. That's really important as well.
Yes. Yes, that has to be on your license. Now, here in America, we put it on the license if you're an organ donor.
Yeah.
If you want to donate your body to science or a medical school, or maybe your brain. Some people just donate their brain. Is that in your backup plan app?
Yes.
Because that's something to think about for
Yes.
research.
Yes, it's kind of scary to think about those types of things, but it's also important at the same time. So you never know when that would happen, and when somebody can be survived by somebody else, it's always kind of a blessing in disguise.
Yes,
Did you
and
leave?
I had to say this, Tina, because I know if you're going to donate, if anybody wants to donate their body to science, you have to pre-register. You can change your mind, but they only take so many bodies. And I had Matt registered, but that changed my mind, and I don't think they're taking his body in that condition that he was in anyway. If you think of that, call a local medical school near you and
Right.
find out what you have to do. But we had a pre-register. If you want to donate your brain to science, check, Google who does that, because off the top of my head, I can't think.
Yeah.
And you have to do it way, way ahead of time.
Right. Not after the fact.
You just can't
obviously.
decide when a person died. Yeah. Yeah. And it's a process. From what I heard, it's really a process to donate brain, all the paperwork
Yes.
and everything. So,
Absolutely.
you're thinking about doing that, or registering the process now. It's take a
Yes.
while.
That's
Tina,
right.
you are an amazing woman.
Well,
You're an inspiration.
Well, thank you. And so are you, because you
True
do a lot
story.
of work. You do a lot of work for caregivers, and that has to be commemorated? No. I'm trying to think of the word. Congratulated, because that's hard work. Caregiving is the toughest job that's out there, and you don't get much thanks for it. So be strong and get in touch with Betsy for any information or questions that anybody has, because it's a terrible, terrible disease that encompasses so many people with Alzheimer's and dementia. And the caregiver world is very lonely. And sometimes you just need some advice or some help or some strength. And definitely check out Betsy's Facebook group for getting that kind of community help from, because everybody can ask questions, right, Betsy? They can get help from other people, not just
Right.
you. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So it's
in today's information world, I mean, I'm kind of jealous of caregivers now, because when I started out, there wasn't anything. Now everybody's having a webinar. Everybody is out there on Facebook doing it for free. So the information highway, you have a smartphone, a computer, check out. I have right on top of my head, Dementia Spotlight Foundation. Contact them. They do free webinars. Tipa Snow. She's on Facebook a lot. She's an expert. There's so many.
You disappeared a little bit there.
You could belong to more than one.
See, we always get technical.
Group. It's okay.
Oh, there you go. You're back. You left us for a second.
Yeah, did you already say this? Oh,
not really.
Yeah, it's okay to belong to more than one group.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think what I'll do is I'll have some final answer or final statement for people because we've talked about a lot of different things, everybody, today. But the importance is that we weren't prepared for the pandemic, and we're not going to be any more prepared for anything else for disasters. But get your stuff together. Get your stuff organized. Use your backup plan app. Put together your own plan. If you need extra help with the emerging blueprint, then use that once it launches. Have worksheets, get information, be a part of it, and talk. It doesn't have to be taboo, like Betsy says. It's not taboo talk. It's information that we all need because it could be our parents, it could be our brothers, sisters, it could be friends, it could be your partner, and it could be yourself. So why not have a plan in place that looks after all of that sort of stuff? And you don't know what tomorrow's going to bring, so be prepared for the unexpected. What do you say, Betsy? Did you go? Did she go?
You were kind of fading out there. I'm here.
Oh, there you are. You're
Do you
back.
hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of froze. So I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, I just said to be prepared for the unexpected. What do you want to say, Betsy, for your final comments?
I would like to say thank you for having me on. And you can find me chatting with Betty on your favorite podcast outlet.
You're all muffled. Hold on. Maybe the internet's gone funny. See if you're back again.
Yeah.
We can hear you. There you go.
Okay.
There
And
you
see,
go.
to me, I look okay. I don't know what you heard, but Chatting with Betsy is on all major podcast outlets. And be prepared. I've seen too many things happen, folks, to too many people. They're not prepared. You need to be prepared. Go on Tina's backup plan site. Use her backup plan app. I highly recommend it. I think it's just. I wish I could want to hug Tina.
Yes.
For doing the work
could.
you're doing. Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, thank you,
talking
Betsy.
about this, and you know, the pandemic is what made me start really thinking I got to get my son to a lawyer. And I would still do it. If you have a kid 18, take him to a lawyer. Get it done.
Yes.
And get your own done. And you know what, team? Also, if you have young children, you got to start thinking about who's going to be a guardian.
Mm-hmm.
You better get that taken care of. You don't want the state involved. So pick out a guardian.
That's for sure.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, you're very, very welcome, Betsy. Thank you for interviewing me today on my YouTube channel. That's awesome.
You're welcome. Well, I'm pretty behind the camera.
Yeah. Well, I know we're going to have Betsy on lots more because we have stories that come every day to both Betsy and myself from people asking questions or situations that arise. And it's really, really important that you get your crap organized. And everything that's up in your head doesn't mean that everybody else knows what's there. So make sure that you have some sort of, whether it's your backup plan or you write it in a book somewhere. But the problem with writing it in a book somewhere is that no one knows where that book is, and that whether or not you're going to keep it up to date. So it's super important that you have some sort of system that collects that information and stores it for you. And your backup plan is having an update done to it right now, and it will be able to notify you with any notifications to notify you whether your plan is coming up for renewal or it's lapsing, or that you don't have a current will or power of attorney or living will. So it's really important that you put the stuff, all of the stuff, into your own backup plan and use it to the best of your ability, because any part of it is more than what you would have done before or what someone else has done or not done. So it's super important. So thank you, Betsy, for telling us your stories as well, because it's super important that everybody's going to have a story. It's just a matter of time. That's for sure.
Right.
So yes, so thank you, Betsy, for
welcome.
having me and interviewing me. It was lovely. Thank you so very much. I want to thank you, my guests, my listeners. It means very much to me that you come on, subscribe to our channel, like the button somewhere down here. Click on that subscribe button and click on the like and share so that you can send these types of videos to your friends and family that mean a lot to you to get better prepared. Maybe there's something in it that can help you understand something, or that you would like to pass on to someone else. And I always end our show with Carol Burnett because it makes us all smile. I'm so glad we had this time together just to have a laugh or sing a song. Seems we just get started, and before you know it, comes a time we have to say so long. So long, everybody. Thank you, Betsy, for coming on and interviewing me today with your backup plan app.
You're welcome to have it. Bye, everybody.
Bye for now. Bye, everybody.